in your webcam. Sorry about that. Or you could just access your webcam if maybe you're a math teacher and you want to do a think aloud and access your webcam and go ahead and write those notes out for students. I'll talk a little bit about that more. So there's lots of different ways that you can utilize a screencasting tool that's really going to benefit your instruction, not only in this online environment, but also when you get back to school in that face-to-face environment as well. So I wanted to include some strategies that are going to help make your screencasting videos as dynamic and entertaining and engaging as possible. So the first thing that I highly recommend is really make sure that you let your personality shine through in your videos. I know sometimes it can be a little intimidating when we hear a voice or we see our face on the screen, and sometimes our personality doesn't really shine through, but if you like to put humor in your instruction or whatever makes you unique as a teacher in that face-to-face environment, really try to bring that to your videos so that your kids feel connected to you and they really know who you are as a person, and it's a lot more engaging for them when they watch those videos. Another great strategy is to make sure your videos are short and concise. We recommend no more than about 5, 10 tops. 10 can be pretty long depending on your grade level videos. But if you need, say, to give information that's going to be about 20 minutes long, what we recommend is really chunk that information into smaller clips and then have some synthesizing time in between those. So for example, maybe do a 5-minute video, have them stop that video and then take what you taught them or information that you gave them and apply it in some way, and then have them go ahead and do another video. So when we're in this online environment or we're watching videos or doing screencasting, it's really important to go ahead and make those videos short and concise to keep our kids engaged as much as possible. Another great tip is to embed your webcam. And I know a lot of teachers tell me, I don't want to see myself. You don't have to do that. And maybe that might not be your first step, but really make a goal for yourself to start embedding your webcam within your screencast if you're just screencasting your screen. Because studies show that kids are more engaged when they actually see the face of their teacher teaching them on the screen. So it's really recommended to embed that webcam once you feel comfortable to really create more engaging videos. Another great tip is to have some sort of script or outline close to you when you're doing your screencasts. For me personally, what I like to do is just have a few bullets on a piece of paper next to me so I know those big points that I want to make sure include in my video I don't forget. Some people will write out a whole script. It really is what works best for you. The only thing about writing it word for word is we sound a little bit more robotic. So definitely having those main points that you want to hit is a really good rule of thumb when you first start out. And then as you get more comfortable with screencasting, you tend to you need fewer and fewer kind of talking points. Another thing is don't worry about making it perfect. In the classroom, you know, we're human, we're not perfect. And it's really nice for your students if you make little mistakes. For example, you know, oh, what I meant to say was blank. You don't need to cut that kind of stuff out. Your kids like to see you as human. You make mistakes in the face-to-face environment. It's okay to have those in, you know, that online environment as well. You can edit those things out, but the fact of the matter is if you're at take 46 and you still haven't completed a 5-minute video, maybe you're nitpicking a little bit too much. So just remind yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're human. Your students like to see you human. And if you make a little mistake or you stumble a little bit, that's okay. Move on. And if you really hate it, I will show you how you can go ahead and edit those things out. Last tip that I would like to include for when you're making those videos is always have some sort of visual for your students to refer to. So if you are doing a screencast on your screen, maybe it's a Google Doc and you're kind of going over the expectations of what you want your students or how you want them to complete that, or maybe whatever it is, you're giving them directions on how they're supposed to complete it. Make sure that you're using the highlighting tools or just your cursor and kind of like highlight that area that you're talking about to allow your students to really engage and kind of visually seeing what you're discussing. Maybe it's just an image that you want to show them, but always have some sort of visual to go with what you're discussing and what you're talking about, and use your cursor or the annotation tools to really kind of pinpoint exactly where you're at when you're discussing those items. Okay. Next up, why use distance learning, or why use Screencastify for distance learning? So in my opinion as well, studies show that using screencasting during the online learning, it really helps build community. So when we are in the face-to-face environment, we work really hard on building community in our classroom. That's a lot harder in the digital world. So by creating videos and allowing students to hear your voice, see your face, it helps them feel more connected into that learning community. So again, screencasting does a great job in helping build that community within that digital realm. It's fantastic for direct instruction during asynchronous learning. Now, if you're not familiar with the terminology, there's two different types of learning and distance learning. There's asynchronous learning and there's synchronous learning. So synchronous learning is that learning we're doing right now. We're here together at the same time, learning together at the same time. Asynchronous learning would be learning that you would do at your own time, at your own pace, not with the teacher. So I know it seems a little opposite of what we do in the classroom. We like to do direct instruction face-to-face, right? But in distance learning, it's really recommended to give that direct instruction asynchronously, say through screencasts, and then have the students go ahead and take what they've learned within that screencast, apply that learning with something, maybe they're creating something, they're answering questions, whatever that is, and then they take that learning to that face-to-face environment, and that way it's very interactive. Maybe they're presenting something they've learned, maybe they're asking questions about what they saw in that screencast, and it's a lot more interactive instead of them just sitting there listening to you. So screencasting can be an amazing tool to really help create effective direct instruction during that asynchronous learning time, that time that they're learning on their own. It's also a great tool with providing feedback. So let's just say you had your students type up a paper or they created something online, and for your little ones, I see we have a lot of elementary teachers, maybe they took a picture of what they wanted to submit and then they submitted that online. You can pull that up on your computer, place as the screencasting tool, and then go ahead and give them feedback on whatever they turned in. Either positive feedback, constructive feedback, whatever that may be, will really help them to understand kind of that next steps and learn from what they've already learned or what they've created. Another great way to use screencasting is to model exemplars. So let's say you want them to create some sort of learning artifact for you, and maybe you have an example of what you're expecting, all of your expectations. Kids love visuals, so maybe you have that up on your screen and you're going over the details of those expectations within that learning artifact that you would like to see your students to have. Another great reason why to use screencasting is it is amazing with supporting your parents. And I know in the spring, I bet you were getting a million emails or messages through your parent communication platform of tech issues like not knowing where to get things. Screencasting is going to be your best friend with communicating with parents. And it's great. You just create a little quick video of whatever you want to communicate, not only to your students, but then your parents get to see it as well. And it really clears up a lot of issues. I'm going to tell you, in my job personally, I get a ton of emails from teachers whom I love to help. And they ask me, instead of typing up this big long explanation, all I do is pull up Screencastify. I have whatever tool that they need help with up on my screen. It takes me 2 minutes and I say, you know what, I think your issue is you need to make sure this is clicked before you do this. And it usually just clears it up super quick instead of me having to type everything out. So again, screencasting is going to be your best friend when communicating with your parents and giving them that visual and really helping them through this difficult time of learning these new tools, learning what, how you want the kids to answer questions and things like that. And then lastly, screencasting during the distance learning time really supports those 3 C's with distance learning, which is connection, communication, and clarity. Again, it allows students to feel connected to you. It allows you and your students to communicate well, because your students can use these screencasting tools as well. And then it also promotes clarity, right? Like, what are you expecting? How do you use this tool? Where are students supposed to go to find their assignment? Whatever that is. If you create a screencast of that, it really helps deepen clarity on what students are supposed to do, and then it also supports parents in helping their students do that. All right, so and then why would we want to use screencasting for a hybrid or face-to-face learning? Eventually, we're going to go back to the classroom, right? And And once you do that, we're not going to throw screencasting away. I used to use it in my face-to-face classroom all the time 4 years ago. And I used it in a blended learning kind of flipped classroom model. And it was absolutely fantastic. My students were engaged. My parents loved it, again, because they could see what I was teaching my students. So it not only does all of those things kind of that we talked about prior, but again, providing those feedbacks, modeling exemplars, you're supporting your parents, because if you're doing some sort of like direct instruction, or you're having, doing notes or something with Screencast, you're having your students take that information down. Now your parents can watch those videos, so it helps that within the face-to-face environment as well. I also really love to have my students use screencasting tools as well to do kind of how-to videos, or if we were learning something new and I had some students that really understood it, I would have them create some sort of tutorial video for their fellow students. So instead of listening to me all the time, they now had, their fellow students explaining it to them. So that's a great way to support that content creation within your students as well. I'm not going to dive too much into that blended learning environment, but even in the secondary, blended learning is extremely powerful. You can do kind of that center learning where you're pulling those small groups with individuals that you need to target on specific things, and then you have your other kids in all different grade levels. This works, working, watching a video that you created and working independently because they saw that video and those steps that they need to do in order to complete that assignment while you're supporting someone else or another group. So again, not only is screencasting fantastic for this virtual teaching that we're now doing, but it's also fantastic during that hybrid or face-to-face learning as well.
Lani, you have a question on what screencast application do you prefer? QuickTime, Meets, Screencast-O-Matic?
I'm actually jumping into that right now. So
okay, perfect.
Timing.
And then also one more, will using one type of computer to make a video still be viewable in another type of computer? For example, Mac video used for Screencastify, then some people use PC. Would they still be able to view it and vice versa?
Yeah, so I have two different types of computers that I use. I have my school or my district Chromebook, and I have my Mac computer. And when I'm at home doing my screencast, everything, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, but everything I personally use Screencastify. Everything that I create automatically uploads in my Drive, and then, as you know, Drive can share to any type of computer, right? So it's easily shareable into Google Classroom, and it's easily shareable from your Drive, and it doesn't matter the type of computer you have because it's all web-based. So yes, it doesn't matter what kind of computer you have. You can, the only thing you do need is you need to use Chrome browser. So it's a Chrome browser extension for Screencastify, and that's the extension that I personally prefer, and that's the one I'm going to dive into. I feel like it's the easiest to use, probably because I've used it the most. But again, people have a lot of different preferences. So my recommendation is try different things and see what works best for you. You will be walking away with knowing how to use Screencastify today, because that is my preference. Now, as you can see on my screen right here, I have included Screencastify and Screencast-O-Matic. These are the two that I hear about the most. And I wanted to kind of give you an overview in terms of the free version and the paid version. Here at Beaumont Unified School District, we have the premium subscription for our teachers, but that might not be the case in your district. So I wanted to kind of show the free version. And on paper, Screencast-O-Matic might look like a more desirable tool because the free version does give up to 15 minutes per video, where the free version is 5. I've heard 10, but I actually got this off the site, so I don't know if it's changed and they haven't updated the site. I've had the unlimited version for years because I used it prior. But this is the information that I got off each of these sites. The paid version is $49 a year for Screencastify. I used to pay for it when I was in the classroom, and $50 a year for this tool that I use constantly and my kids used all the time was doable for me. My kids use the free version, obviously, but they would do those quick videos. So for me, the $49 was not a big deal. For you, it might be. So again, kind of, you need to know what you can do. If you want only a free version, maybe Screencast-O-Matic might be better for you because you can do up to 15 minutes. But maybe, you know, Screencastify, if you want to really make yourself get that video down to 5 minutes, maybe you're saying, you know, I do about 4 or 5 minute videos anyway, so this will work for me. So again, you need to figure out what's best for you. There are other tools besides these two. These are the most widely used tools.
Lani, can you clarify for paid version of Screencastify, how long do you get? Like how many minutes is that, or is it unlimited?
It's unlimited. Unlimited videos, unlimited, yeah. And I believe that's the same as Screencast-O-Matic. There are 2 versions, and you know, I'm 95% sure both, even the deluxe version is unlimited as well as the Premier. There's just a few more add-ons here. Both, I believe, I believe the free version with Screencastify allows you to do, you have the editing tools. The free version of Screencastify actually has a lot of those premium features within it. The main thing is that video time within Screencastify in the free version. Any other questions on that, Sherry, before I move on?
Nope, please go ahead.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to jump in, and I'm going to show you how to install Screencastify. If you lag behind, I don't want anyone to, you know, freak out or worry. You know, I'm not going to remember it, even if you don't. But then sometimes we watch a video or we watch a presentation, then we get back to our classroom a couple of days later, or our home a couple of days later, and we thought, what the heck did she say? I can't remember. So for you individuals that maybe, you know, you get left behind a little bit, or you have some technology issues, or if you just want these videos to help you in the future, I included a link in this presentation that's going to take you to the website that I created for Beaumont, but you're welcome to use it. You can go ahead and you'll see these 2 videos. This is going to show you how to install the extension that I'm going to show you right now, and this is actually going to show you how to use the extension, which I'm going to show you right now. So just as a reminder, there's a link right here in this image that you can access those 2 videos. So if you do fall behind or you need a reminder, you have that information right there for you. So the first thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is you need to be in the Chrome browser. What I mean by that is not a Safari or Firefox. You want to have Chrome, because this is a Chrome extension. So if you don't have Chrome, don't worry, just go ahead and watch right now. If you do and you're not in the Chrome browser, don't worry, just watch for now. If you are in Chrome, then you can go ahead and follow along with me. The first thing you want to do, and I've actually uninstalled my Screencastify extension because I wanted to kind of show you what it's going to look like for you. The first thing that you want to do is click on this link. Sherry, do they have the presentation in the chat box?
Yes, I have included the link to the presentation. I'll go ahead and do it again. And for those of you guys asking about the recordings, at the end of the session, EdTech is going to work on trying to put us all the recordings in a centralized location for you guys.
Awesome. Okay, so once you click on this link, you're going to see it says Add to Chrome right here. And all you want to do is just go ahead and click on that. You want to say Add Extension. And I don't know if it's Google or if it's Chrome or if it's my work email, but it's been taking a little bit long. So what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and download that extension, and you're going to see that pop up here in the extension box, and it's taken about a minute. So I'm going to kind of let you guys do that right now. Also, I wanted to note that here, you're also going to start seeing this in the Chrome extension, this puzzle piece right here. And if for some reason you have, it says you are, removed from Chrome, that means you already have this, but you don't, if you don't see it here, the new update with the Chrome browser is this puzzle piece, which is just a quick link to all your extensions. So as you can see, my Screencastify, now that I've downloaded it or uploaded it, it's not pinned to my extension bar, and it hides. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that so I can always see it in my extension bar. If that's a preference, if you don't want it there, that's fine. But a quick way to get to it is this, this puzzle piece. If you don't have that puzzle piece, that might mean you need to go ahead and update your Chrome browser. And another place that you can find extensions is by going to the 3 dots, going to More Tools, and going to Extensions, and you can find them there, okay? So once that extension pops up here in your extension bar, what you want to do is go ahead and click on it, and it's going to have you sign in. So you'll go ahead and sign in with Google. And it's going to ask you, it's probably going to ask you a few questions. I personally have already answered these questions. It didn't have me do it earlier, so maybe they've changed that, but before it would ask you a few questions. You definitely want to allow for your camera and your drawing annotation tools. So you go to next. It's going to ask you to allow this. Now, some people get a little bit nervous about this because it says read and change all your data on the websites you visit. If you actually Google what this means, what it means is when you go to a website, all it's doing is it's accessing the data from that website to embed those tools that you can use, like the highlighter or the eraser, things like that. That's all that's allowing you to do, is to allow you to embed those tools within a website or a screen that you bring up that you want to screencast. Screencastify says that they do not record anything that you're doing on those sites. That's just to allow them to have access to that particular site so they can embed those web tools for you to use. So you can decide if you want to use that or not. I always press allow. And then you'll see hooray, which means that you are successful and you have the confetti. Sherry, am I going too fast or are we good?
No, you're doing great.
Okay, I just didn't know if we had a bunch of questions. Okay, so now when you see hooray, you can actually go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that and come on down to my presentation. Now you have this extension in your extension bar, and that is where you're going to go every time you want to use Screencastify. So the way that you use this tool is you're going to go ahead and click on it, and then you're going to see kind of the menu pop up. Before we dive in, I kind of want to go over a few things up here, kind of to go over these, and then we'll dive into actually how to use the tool. So if you're not familiar, this is actually Google terms. This is called the hamburger. The 3 lines is the hamburger. Anytime you see 3 lines anywhere, that tells you that that's a drop-down menu. So this is our hamburger drop-down menu. We can click on that. You can actually access all of your recordings from right here. If you want to go ahead and purchase the premium after you've used the free for a while, you can access your subscription from here. There's some more options that are a little bit more advanced. You're welcome to check that out. You can access the editor from right here. There's other classroom resources that maybe you want to look at to get different ideas. You have help. You can switch accounts. So like me personally, I have my personal account and I have my professional account. So I could switch between accounts if I wanted to, and then I can also sign out. So that's your drop-down menu. You can also have a quick link right here to your recordings. I'll just show you what that looks like. So I click on that icon, and these are all the recordings. You're going to see a lot, so don't judge. All of the screencast recordings that I've ever done, I can access them there as well. And I'm going to show you how you access them in Drive. And then also when you actually create a video, if you use Google Classroom, how you can upload it to Google Classroom right after you create the video, which is super easy. So just in case you wanted to go back and find a recording, that's one way to do it. So I'll show you that one more time. Right here is a quick link. I'm clicking on the extension. This is the quick link to your recordings. As you can see, I have Screencastify Unlimited, so I do have that unlimited. So if you're ever wondering if do I still have the unlimited? I'm not sure. You'll see that right here. Sometimes they'll give you notifications. You're going to see a little red dot on this bell that will let you know you have a notification to check out. And then here again are some advanced settings. So those are kind of your menu options on the top.
Lani, for the premium and the free, how many recordings are you allowed to do? Is it unlimited for both?
It's a really good question. I used the free for a long time. I believe, and don't quote me on that, I'm like 95% sure it's only the time. I think you can have unlimited because it's uploading to your Drive. I can double check at the end if anyone wants to really stick around. I'm pretty sure it's just the time of the video, not how many videos. But again, don't quote me on that. If you really want to know, hang out at the end and we'll check it out. Okay. All right, so now we have the different ways to screencast. The first way that you can do it is called the browser tab. So as you can see, I'm in this tab right here. I'm in this tab for this presentation. Maybe you just wanted everything in this tab to be screencast, but you wanted to jump over to other tabs, but you didn't want whoever was watching the video to see that. And an example, I never use this, but an example of that might be maybe you had some like bullet points or something on this page, and while you were talking, you quickly jumped over to check the bullet points. And for me personally, I have it, you know, on a piece of paper next to me, but there might be many reasons why you would just want, when you screencast, just want to see this browser tab and be able to jump to other tabs and have it not follow you. So that's the browser tab. For me personally, I don't mind, you know, I'm constantly jumping around and going to different pages and things like that. So I use the desktop. So the desktop means anywhere I go when I'm screencasting, the video is going to follow me and it's going to record what I'm doing in, you know, on the opposite of the browser tab. The browser tab is just going to be following you or recording just this tab. Desktop records everything that you actually click on and go to. You also have the option of just your webcam only. And that means it's not going to be, you know, recording your screen. It's just going to be recording your webcam. Now, I've used this many times. The way that I used to use it in math is I would take my actual computer and then I would flip it around and I would take the lid and lower it kind of like at a 45-degree angle with my paper underneath it. And then I would actually do like a mathematical think aloud, solving a problem, you know, talking about the strategy that I'm using. And that's a really great way to use the tool as well. So again, webcam just accesses your webcam. Maybe you just want to say, hey kids, how's it going? Today, this is what we're going to learn about. So maybe you want to do something like that and you just want them to see your face. That would be just the webcam only. In the desktop, you can also, and I believe in browser tab too, yeah. So if you want to record your screen in either of these, you can embed your webcam where you get to see your beautiful or handsome face right down here in the corner. You can expand that out a little bit. You can move that around, and I'm going to show you what that looks like when I start recording. You're also going to see your microphone. It's using my embedded, you know, not my Chromebook, but my Mac microphone right here. You can see that it's working. And then if I embed my webcam, I can go ahead and select. Some of you might have different cameras. Obviously, I only have one. I'm going to go ahead and select my main camera. And then you're going to see more options right here as well. So when you go finally to record your screencast, you can actually have different seconds for countdown. I stick with 3, but maybe you want to have a little bit more warning before the video starts. You can go ahead and do a 5-second or a 10-second as well. Lastly, these are your drawing tools. So if you embed those, they'll pop up down here in the corner, in the left-hand corner, and you can go ahead and you can highlight items, you can erase the highlight, you can draw on them. There's lots of different things you can do with those drawing tools. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Any other questions, Sherry, before I move on what I just discussed?
The only question that I'm seeing is Heather asked, also, do I have to upload to each device or computer?
Well, the cool thing about Chrome is if you sign in with your Google account, it will automatically be there. So anything, so for example, if you think about your drive, right? Like as long as you sign in through your Google account, you can access your drive from anywhere. You're also gonna be able to access those extensions as well. So these are all the extensions tied to my personal work account. And whenever I go to any computer and I log in, these are the extensions that I can see. The only way you'll have to reinstall it is if you are using maybe 2 different Google accounts.
Okay, and then will the drawing tools work on the free version as well?
I believe the drawing tools are a premium subscription, but again, we'll jump to their website if you're really interested in that. All that information is right on the website. Hang out at the end and I'll jump to the website and I can show you all that information. I'm sorry, I've looked at so many tools and I've used Unlimited for so long that I don't know that right now, so I apologize. Okay, so now you're ready to record. So maybe you have a presentation like I have here in front of me, whatever it is that you want to have up. I'm going to use my desktop. I'm going to embed my webcam. So I'm going to go ahead and record. You're going to see my face right here. So there's some different options that you can have. You can record your entire screen, which means you can jump to different applications or different windows that you might have up. It's going to follow you wherever you go. This can be maybe a little bit more advanced, an application window. So let's just say, if you take one of these tabs and you pull it off, maybe you have 2 tabs and you pull it off into another application window, you can actually just screencast just those application windows instead of maybe, see how I have all these tabs up here? You know, maybe you don't want your email in there or whatnot. So that's something that you can do, which is a little bit more advanced. I personally always just do my entire screen, because if I did accidentally, you know, pop onto something else, it's a recording, I can just delete it or start fresh or edit that out. So for me personally, I don't mind just sticking with my entire screen. The only other reason you might want to use application window, which I use often in the classroom, was I had a document camera or you know, an Elmo, whatever you might have, and I would open that up on my desktop on my work computer. I would have that application open and that would pop up in this screen, and I would click on that. And so I used to do kind of like a flipped classroom where I would do my notes within a video. It'd be like a 5-10 minute video. And that way they could take those notes on their own time. And then when they came to the classroom, we took those notes and applied them in some sort of learning opportunity, instead of having just use like, you know, a ton of time in the class to do the notes. They could pause it, do it at their own time. So I accessed my Elmo, and, you know, they heard me talking, and I was, you know, doing all my notes or my writing or whatnot, and that's what I was recording instead of my actual computer screen. So that's another way that you can use application window. For today, we are just going to use entire screen, and then we need to make sure that we actually click on that. You'll see the blue outline, and you'll go ahead and go to share. So you should see, I have a lot of things running right now, so it's probably going, what are you doing? You should see, there it goes, the countdown. And then now I'm going, it's recording. It counted down by 3. I'm recording, hey kids, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. If you don't like this bar down here, what you can do is you can actually hide it, and you can access it from down here as well when you want to stop it, or you can actually come back up to the tool and you can stop it as well. There's also a shortcut that I can let you know at the end if you're interested as well. So once you are done recording, you can actually come up here. Oh, here you can see the tools that I have also that you can utilize when you're doing your recording. When you're finished with your recording, you can either click here or stop sharing right here. I'll go ahead and press stop. You can actually, let's say you made a mistake and you just wanted to restart it really quickly, you could press this to restart. Let's say you just want to delete it altogether, you go ahead and delete it. Another thing that I recommend is if you make a mistake, just stop, pause, you know, kind of get your bearings, think about what you want to say differently, and then start it again, and then just continue on with where you made a mistake, and then you can edit that, you know, that mistake out later. So I'm going to go ahead for this, for the sake of right now, is go ahead and press stop. And right away when you press stop, you're going to go ahead and see your video that you just created. You can, it's going to mute it automatically, so you don't have to hear yourself right away. I recommend definitely listening to it. So you can click unmute and you'll be able to hear it. If you want to mute it again, you would do that down here. Right away, what you want to do, if it's a video that you want to keep, you want to rename it, because you know, it's really, rename it something that's easy to find within your drive, so that you can quickly share it if you need to access it again. So whatever it is that you want to rename, you're going to go ahead and rename that here. If you want to edit it, you can open it up in editor here. If you hate it, you can delete it, which I've done many, many times. And then also, as you can see, you can share to classroom from this screen right here. You'll click on share to classroom. You're going to be able to choose the classroom that you want it to share it to. It's going to be a screen right here. Sorry, I have a lot of things running right now, and my internet at work today is pretty slow. So you can choose that class that you want to share it to. It'll allow you to put in those directions, whatever it is that you want to say, if it's an assignment, whatnot, which is really, really convenient as well. If you want to embed it within a website, you can do that. If you want to publish it to YouTube, you can do that. If you want to download it, and then there's more options here. The way that I use it a lot is, a lot of teachers will email me and say, hey, Lani, I'm having trouble with this. What do I need to do? So I'll just open up whatever they're working on. I'll screencast it, and then right here, I'll grab this shareable link and then just add that into my email. You can do that too with whatever parent communication platform you have. You can grab that link right here. So once you make your first video, what's going to happen within your drive, kind of like Classroom, automatically you'll have a Screencastify folder that's made. You don't have to make it. Automatically, right after you make your first video, you will have a folder that's created and all of your videos will also be stored there. So it's another easy way to access and share your videos. So if you created a video and you didn't share it to Classroom right away, the cool thing is now, as you know, in Google Classroom, when you go to add a resource, you can look up that Screencastify folder, or you can just type in the title of it and it will pop up right there, and you can easily share it in Google Classroom. So that is Screencastify in a nutshell. It's a really, really simple tool. The hardest thing, honestly, is being comfortable in front of the screen if that's something new to you, and kind of learning how to make those dynamic videos. The tool itself is pretty self-explanatory. There's not a lot to, not a lot to it, and it's really easy to go ahead and share to the classroom or access it in your drive. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead, oops, wrong button. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A. I know we probably still have about 10 more minutes. If you feel like you got enough information from this presentation, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. You can always reach out to me via Twitter. Email, I believe, was shared with you. I'm always happy to help individuals with technology. Otherwise, if you don't have any other questions, you're welcome to go ahead and head out. Sherry, is there some last words that you would like to say before we start going into the Q&As, or?
Yes, on behalf of the EdTech team, we just wanted to say thank you for joining us this year for Google Camp 2020, 5th year in a row and our largest one so far. And thank you all for joining us in our virtual world. We just want to again share our appreciation, not just for you, learning this material, but also for being the champions out there with our kids. I mean, especially if you're from Riverside County, our schools are opening up virtually, so we really appreciate you learning and doing the best for our kiddos. So with that just being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe out there. And then if you want to stay, looks like we have quite a few questions in the chat. Lani will be sitting around to finish those.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in. And again, I'm always here to help and have fun screencasting. All right, so Sherry, it sounds like you have a few
questions. Yes. Okay, so the first one is, how do you delete a presentation if you don't want it anymore?
So with a screencast, like an actual video?
Correct, yes.
Right here, boom. So if you watch it and you're like, ooh, I hate that, all you're gonna do is you're gonna click this little delete bar. Also, if you're actually in Screencast and you wanna start recording, and let's say you absolutely hate it, let me show you really quickly. Counting down. So say you start recording, you're like, oh, I need to start over, that was horrible. You just go ahead and click on that tool right there, and you can delete it right from here as well. So if you press stop, what's going to happen is this is going to pop up, and you can delete it from here if you don't like it. If you press delete from this screen in the middle of your video, this will not pop up. It will automatically delete it, and you can just start from scratch.
Perfect. And if it's already like one that you used a while ago, it'll just be in your Google folder and you can delete it from there.
Yeah,
and
I would just delete like you would normally delete something in your drive.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that sometimes when a colleague emails you something and you'll do a screencast of how you fixed or helped them with that subject that they had asked about. If you were to delete that video from your Google, would they still have access to it, or no, because it's gone from your Google Drive?
I would double check. Well, let's practice. I'm not sure. I don't delete things because I have unlimited in my drive and it just stays in that folder. So what we could do is, it's a really good question. Let me find one it's not good. So I'm going to go ahead. This is called Untitled July 23. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that here. And then we're going to actually go into our recorder and let's see if it's saved within the kind of cloud for Screencastify. Me personally, if you have a G Suite account with your district, it's unlimited. So yeah, so it is still here. So you would actually have to delete it from the cloud within Screencastify. It would just be deleted from your drive. But if you needed to, like, let's say, oh no, I wish I didn't delete that, you would still have it here within your cloud for Screencastify.
Okay, and then looks like this was actually good collaboration between our participants. Someone had asked, how would you record from the Elmo? As an art teacher, I'm expecting that will be my love teaching for distance learning.
Yeah, so again, I don't have it hooked up, so it'd be kind of hard to see this. So the first step that you would want to do is you would want to go ahead and go to your desktop. You would want to open up your Elmo on your desktop like you normally would, and then you need to check to see if your computer has an embedded web or embedded microphone in it. Most new computers do, even desktops do. If it does not, back in the day I purchased, I think it was like $15. It was just a microphone that I just connected into my tower. So you would need a microphone if it's not, if you have computers at your school that's not already embedded. And then what you're gonna do is you have your Elmo open, go to record, and then you're gonna go to application window and you're gonna choose that Elmo application.
Perfect. All right, and then someone asked, can you share to SeeSaw?
Yes, you can. So you should, yes, you can. Well, I'm not sure. You guys have so many good questions. I'm gonna open up my SeeSaw account because I know you can add things from Drive if that's correct. And I believe, I'm hurrying you guys. I know you're all waiting around for your questions. I appreciate your patience. Looks like you can select anything from Drive. So fingers crossed I can do Screencastify. All right, here's a Screencastify video. Let's see. Hi, Christine. I hope you're doing well. Yep, it works.
Perfect. Michelle asked, can you add a hyperlink?
Into your Screencastify, no, you cannot. But I do believe if you take this, and if you're familiar with like WeVideo or something like that, or I believe you can do also within YouTube is if you upload this into YouTube, I believe you can embed the hyperlink link there.
Perfect. And then Bob asked, can you rename a video after you have shared it to your Drive?
Yes, super easy, just like you would with a normal anything. So, you can right click it. You can, let's see where it is, rename from right there. Yes, you can.
Perfect. And then looks like Yvonne is asking, does it have a whiteboard that you can write on?
No, unfortunately it does not. I know. But what you could do is you could pull up a Google Doc and then use the pen tool and kind of use that as a whiteboard. That's probably the best thing that I could tell you that you could do.
Thank you. And then Mrs. R asks, is it easy to just embed into a Google slide?
Yes. So what you would want to do with a Google slide, let me go ahead and just show you here. So the way that, well, let's go insert video. So you would go insert video, go to your Google Drive, look up Screencastify. So the way that I do it, I actually do a lot of upload a lot of my Screencastify videos to YouTube, and then it's really easy to insert a YouTube video from here. But you can also do it this way if you're not comfortable with that. So I can go ahead and just grab my video, and it should pop up right here. Yeah.
Wow, perfect. All right, and then Miss Connie asks, where and how can I find saved videos again?
Okay, so my recommendation to always just go to your Drive again. So it creates a folder right in your Drive. So just search, if you have a really messy drive and you don't know where anything is, just search Screencastify and this folder will pop up. It's going to be labeled the exact same thing. You can click on that and you can find all your videos that way. Or if you want to, because usually people want to share it like to Classroom or something like that. Or you can access them if you click on the actual Screencastify icon, you'd click on this right here. That's going to be your My Recordings within the Screencastify tool. Since I am assuming most people that go to this Google Camp are Google users, the easiest way to find your videos is going to be within your drive.
Perfect. And then Ashley asks, you can edit in the extension or do you use another tool?
Yeah, so let me show you that really quickly. Actually, do I have a video up right now? Let's see. Yeah, this one. So let's say like I made a mistake on this video. You can go ahead and go open an editor. It's going to open up in a different screen, but it's still a Screencastify tool. The reason I didn't bring this up during the whole presentation is sometimes this takes a little bit long to load, but once it loads, it's pretty easy to use. So hopefully it will load. If not, we can jump ahead to the next question and then jump back to this one. That's the only thing that I don't like about the new, it's new and they're kind of updating it a lot. So it does take sometimes to open, and then it will pop up your video right here. And then you can use, the snipping tools and things like that and kind of, so let's say you made a mistake in the middle, you can kind of cut that out and then pull those other two video recordings together and it will be one seamless recording.
Perfect. And then I know you're waiting on Screencastify, but Victoria is asking if you can display again the record button. She can't seem to find it when she opens her Screencastify.
Sure. So when you click on Screencastify, it's right here. Hopefully, maybe sometimes, if we haven't updated our computer in a long time, sometimes we need to restart a computer and the extension will start working. I've noticed that if Chrome, yeah, see, and my internet's going really slow, so it's not going to be nice today, but sometimes Screencastify, if the Chrome browser needs to be updated, I always tell my teachers, they're saying it's not working right, I don't see what I need to see. I say, just restart your computer, let me know if it's still working. 9 times out of 10, they just needed to restart or do a Chrome update. So that really does help.
Okay. And Christine asked, can you record live instruction then post to Google Classroom, such as Avid Notes?
Say that one more time.
Can you record live instruction then post to Google Classroom, such as creating Avid Notes? So kind of you speaking and the kids following along on the video while they're creating Avid Notes.
No, that would be kind of like a Google Meet or a Zoom. No, nothing's live. It's all recorded. It's recording a video.
Perfect. And then let's see, a question about SeeSaw you already answered. Can you please show me how to use Screencastify Record as an Elmo, show a lesson from an actual paper, which I think you mentioned you don't have an Elmo, hook it up right now.
No, but if they want to see like what it looks like, yeah, I could share this with them. I was doing kind of like a quick example. So this is what like a math lesson would look like. And I think I did like 3 + 4, but you can see kind of how the paper is underneath there and you can go ahead and start writing through. It's not the best, but it is a way that kids can visually see what you're doing if you need to write with paper and pencil instead of using like a digital whiteboard or something like that. So I'm actually giving instructions to teachers of how they could do this and kind of saying, see how you angle your computer and then you can go ahead and start writing, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of what I did here. I hope that helps.
Perfect. When I use Screencast-O-Magic, I love how the cursor is highlighted when I move the mouse, but then if I don't use the mouse constantly, it disappears. Does that happen with the Castify drawing tools? Lani, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I apologize. So a lot of times, and this might be with Screencast-O-Matic, I'm not sure, but with Screencastify, for example, if I start with this screen, like just a blank Google screen, and I go to Screencastify, you're going to notice that your tools, it'll say drawing tools are unavailable on this tab, and then it'll say why. You can actually click on it and see why. Basically, it needs to be an actual website or a slide or something like that in order to have access to that and embed. So there are some particular sites, for example, a blank Google search page, you cannot access drawing tools. But as soon as I say come to my presentation and I come here, it will access those drawing tools. So it might just be where you start off. So you go to more tools and I'm able to use my drawing tools. So that might be what's going on with Screencast-O-Matic as well.
Okay. And then Sarah and Ashley both asked, where's the application window?
Okay. So when you click on Screencastify, you need to go into record, and it's not going to start recording right away. That's going to be like, what do you want to record? So when you click record, it's basically going to say, what do you want to record, your entire screen or your application window? And then you have it right there.
Perfect. And then looks like Ken's asking, can you green screen in backgrounds to make videos more entertaining?
No, but what I do with green screen, how I kind of work around that is I also use a tool called WeVideo, which is an amazing, it's a super easy video editing tool. If you're super into video editing, you're probably going to think it's super easy, but it's a video editing tool that embeds green screen. So you can actually green screen over your screencasts. And, you know, if someone wants to give their email or whatnot, I can kind of give you more. I can send you a screencast to show you how to do that if you're really interested in that. So if you're comfortable with this technology, my recommendation, check out WeVideo. There is a free version, and you can actually take this screencast and upload it into that web-based video editor tool, and then you could screencast yourself, right? Or you could video yourself and actually embed yourself over on top or layer yourself on top of that actual screencast within WeVideo. So it looks kind of like your screencast is behind you, and then it has your body or, you know, your torso and head or whatever. It looks like you're kind of green screen into that screencast.
Perfect. And Mrs. R wants to know, if you upload to YouTube, is it public for anyone to view?
Well, that depends on your settings in YouTube. So in YouTube, you can do public, you can do unlisted. I usually do unlisted. Unlisted means that anyone who has the link that you send the link to can see it, or there's private. So it just depends on, but if it's private, then your kids won't be able to see it. So just remember that. Private means you are the only one that can view that. So unlisted is the best option. And then you can find YouTube videos on all of that information, kind of show you how to kind of create or upload that YouTube video. But public is anyone that searches can find it. Unlisted is just for individuals that you send the link to. So maybe like in your Google Classroom, they'll be able to view that. And then private is going to be just you can see it.
Okay, and then Haley asks, when recording, can you stop and start back up again in the same video?
Yes. So I'll show you that really quickly. So you're going to go ahead and go to record. And I'll just do my whole window. So let's say I made a mistake, whatever it is. I'm going to come back up to my tool. Well, there's two ways you can do. Oh, sorry, it's counting down. So I can either restart it here. I can pause it here. Once you press stop, that means you're done, and it's going to pop up in the other screen. You can start editing it. So if you just want to pause it and then start again, you can pause from here, or you can pause down here with your tools. And then here, I'll show you really quickly. So I pause it, and then, you know, I regroup or I come back, and then I can go ahead and start it again, and it will start like it never stopped.
All right, and then Lani, does the drawing tool expand/highlight the mouse pointer to draw attention to something on the screen?
Yes. Do we want to see that? Sherry, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, any other questions? Do you
Oh,
want
oh,
to tutor?
sorry.
Did you want to tutor?
Last question is, if you save it to Google Drive, can you then download to other storage mediums?
I'm sure you can, because once you're in Drive, if you want to say download it, just right click it and download. And you should be able to upload it anywhere that you want, for sure.
Okay, and I'm so sorry, Lani. One more question just from
Sure.
Debbie. Didn't want to miss this one. It looks like the show more options only has countdown and not any other tools. Is it because I'm in the free version?
Yes. So that must be, you cannot have the additional tools. And it also, so she can't see embed webcam, or she's saying more, oh, the drawing tools. So they must have taken, or they don't allow the drawing tools for the free version.
Perfect. All right, well, that is the end of all the questions. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. And Lani, thank you for explaining that for everyone. If you look in the chat, you have a lot of thank yous, very appreciative people, a lot of compliments to you being the best training of both days. So
Oh,
look at
that's
you,
great.
expert level. So everyone who feels that way, please make sure you hit that feedback button that you did love her, and we will bring Lani back next year, okay?
Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'm really happy that you enjoyed it and you found it useful. Again, you can always contact me. I love helping with technology. So have a wonderful day, and I hope you're all doing well.
Perfect. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.